Hello. I'm here all by myself. I think Bill took a break. So he should be back soon. It's great to be here. This is the firing line, as Bill usually says. I guess today what I'd like to start off with, without Bill, is to tell you all that last night we had an earthquake here, which is one of the drawbacks of living in paradise. We do get earthquakes. So it was 5.2 from Barrico. The center was Barrico Springs, if I'm pronouncing it right. And oh my goodness, that you couldn't sleep through that one. That was 1 o'clock in the morning last night. Guess where Bill was? Bill was in his study, so I was sound asleep. I think he's sleeping beside me, but the earthquake woke me up and I found out you were not sleeping beside me. You were down here in the studio.
Yeah, and when it hit, it was the loudest earthquake we've ever had. It was like a freight train going to the house.
Yeah, what was it like in here by yourself?
It was like sitting on the chair was like sitting on a giant rubber mat that was being vibrated like a trampoline.
Yeah.
And the concrete pad was moving like waves through it, and pushing up and down. It was crazy.
Well, when it woke me out of bed, and you weren't there, I saw you weren't there, and immediately I thought Bill smashed something in the kitchen. So
you have to think the worst thing.
Smashed something.
Hubby's crazy. He did something stupid, right?
Anyways.
Yeah.
So, Bill, we're on the firing line. It's nice of you to join us today.
Yeah, I had to run off for I call a bio break. That's my term for it.
Okay. You do get those privileges, one of the privileges of the job.
Yeah, the first hour we hit open lines. We talked about a video on Republic Broadcasting by Karen Barrett that's proven now the ID numbers of the so-called Saudi pilots. Mm-hmm. Not one pilot on the lists for the planes from American Airlines were Saudi or from Yemen or any other countries.
Oh.
And then all the numbers they had for their visas were all numbers given to CIA agents.
Ooh, bad.
Yeah.
That's bad news.
So we're going over this moment because we're ramping up. I'm going to put together a documentary video film on 9/11, amalgamating our research and all the others. And we're going to get Mark Gaffney back on the program who wrote 9/11 Mystery Plane and Black 9/11. He'll be back on with the new 15th anniversary book that's coming out here before September 11th.
So I talked with Mara, our friend Mara from New York. Hi out there. She listens regularly. And she wanted me to ask you on the air today for a friend of hers. He's a New York police officer.
Right.
New York City. And he went to his doctor, and his doctor told him his iron was 47, like extremely high.
Yeah.
What is 47? I thought you could only go to do you think it was 4.7 or 47?
Well, you have to know what their normals are. There's a thing called total iron binding capacity and free iron and ferritin levels. When you get really high, it's called the iron time bomb, because what it does is oxidizes your cholesterol and fatty acids and can produce plaque. It can also calcify areas of the tectum of the midbrain, causing Parkinson's disease. Mm-hmm. And it can also cause plaque and arterial plaque in your arteries, causing stroke or heart attack. It's very bad. It causes oxidative stress in the body.
So tell Mara, she's listening today, Bill, what can she get for her friend?
Keeler Max and ultra liquid zeolite and methyl and Samethyl, those three.
And that'll take the iron out.
Oh yeah, no problem at all. Yeah.
Let's see, Ken from Orange County up the road. I guess they felt that earthquake all the way up there in Orange County.
Oh yeah.
Our earthquake from down
We talked about specifics of Dan today. That's the San Jacinto fault zone. Please continue.
Okay. So
just had to have a little info.
He's suffering now, Bill, with congestive heart failure, and he wanted to know if he can take the Cardivite with his meds.
Yes, and we'll gradually taper his meds, but we can't take him off quickly because he has to be compensated. Basically, it's 2/3 to 3/4 of the dry weight of your heart and blood vessel media layer is mitochondria. So it's a mitochondriopathy. It's amplified by toxins in our diet, including bisphenol A and endocrine disruptors and mitochondrial toxins, fluoridated and chlorinated and brominated water. It's also interfered with all these people. Basically, most of them are diabetic or pre-diabetic and they're hypothyroid, which means their mitochondria are not working. And what we do is have to get their mitochondria working with, say, vascular carnitine, CoQ10, ubiquinol, cardiovasc, ellagic acid, omega supreme krill with astaxanthin, and NADH, which increases nicotine and adenine dinucleotide hydride, and things like our D-ribose, which is our ATP energy for increasing levels. And we can reverse the congestive heart failure. But all these people that are at CHF, I strongly recommend besides our nutraceuticals, which they should take, they should also be in mild hyperbaric oxygen at least 2 hours a day.
Well, that's not easy for a lot of people.
No, they can lease it. They can lease it actually for a few $100s a month, and it's totally write-off.
Next is Mike, Bill from Montana, and Mike called because he was a first-time orderer this week. And he called because his friend Terrence, who's also up there in Montana with him, has been taking our Zeolite. And what Terrence was taking it for was back pain. And I said, oh, really? I didn't realize that Zeolite takes away back pain. So Mike was ordering it for pain, to take away pain.
Well, first off, heavy metals are tied in with creating free radicals, and free radicals with local inflammatory molecules around tendons, ligaments, and joints. For example, if you look at the joints of people that have problems like osteoarthritis, an amplifying factor might be arsenic because they're eating a lot of chicken. All the chicken feed, except wild free-range chickens, is laced with arsenic across the country, everywhere. Okay, and no matter what part of the country you're eating chicken, you're going to get, unless it's even organic chicken, unless it's free-range, you're going to get arsenic. And then other heavy metals will also amplify. So that's going to help. But the best thing for inflammation in your back, Inflamax 4 to 5 capsules twice a day, Cell Defense Plus, and then I recommend start off with our things for healing the joints, Collagen Max, Joint Performance and Tendon Mender, and if you haven't got a response within 2 to 4 weeks, add Mountain Red Velvet, because it's really miraculous what the Red Velvet will do.
Mike is new to NutriMedical, and what's going on with him, Bill, is MS, and I don't think that Zeolite is one of our best products for MS.
No. MS, we use Singulin, which is myelin basic protein, Maligna Arrest to actually turn off the hexose monophosphate shunt because it's triggering off the MS and the autoimmune, and Allergon and Allerblock and High-Dose Power C to kind of settle the immune system. Now, there's doctors in Southern Ontario. What they do, their new treatment for MS is to completely wipe out your immune system and then resurrect it. It works, but it's dangerous as hell because you already turn off someone's immune system so they can come back with cancer or serious infection and die. So they have had success with people with progressive, because there's 5 subclasses of MS. I don't recommend it. If you want to turn off your immune system, you want to go on a ketogenic diet and take Maligna Arrest, and that will shut off the hexose monophosphate shunt and shut off the antigens. And you got to get rid of the spirochetes, because it's Lyme spirochetes, Borrelia, or babesiosis or ehrlichiosis that are triggering off the oligodendrocytes to produce antigens to make your lymphocytes attack them. So I don't recommend our crazy approach. I think it's dangerous, and I think ours works better.
His wife, Bill, it's really sad because he has MS, and his wife is suffering from fibromyalgia. Isn't that painful?
Yeah, it's very painful. Fibromyalgia, the primary cause is magnesium deficiency and chronic cytokine infections. And everybody I've seen with fibromyalgia, they have one or more virus infection, and they have high levels of what's called pyrogens and cytokines in their blood. And when I've measured it in the past, you see high levels of tumor necrosis factor alpha, IFN gamma, and their tests actually determine if you have a IFM gamma test called a spot test that can determine if it's high. So, in other words, I know how to shut it off without drugs, without toxic drugs that can hurt you.
A praise report on a different note, a happier note, from Tom in Scotland. Hey, Tom. Always a pleasure to think about you, and even more to talk to you. So
right.
He's keep some jokes coming. We need some jokes lately. The Berberstatin, Bill, that he's been taking over the past few months, he wanted you to know that it totally cleaned up his gastro reflux.
Right. That's the reason that the gastric reflux is due to tertiary spasm of your esophagus that literally crawls up into your chest and causes abnormal peristaltic waves to pull gastric contents, acid and pepsin up into your esophagus. But it usually means there's a growth of parasitic bacteria, mycobacteria, and fungi, and Helicobacter pylori. And when you take the Berberstatin, it helps to kill it off and normalize the peristaltic waves. The other thing that will help the waves is IBS Care, which is a GI-released form of carnitine, to normalize what's called the myenteric plexus of nerves in your esophagus and your gut.
Kenneth, in an email, I am taking a high blood pressure pill to relax the smooth muscles in my bladder neck because of BPH. Okay, Bill? You're going to live over there? I have cut down on the amount that I take, but I'm still not happy taking it. I have tried many remedies to try and get off of them to no avail, and when I don't take them, it's hard for me to keep a constant stream, and it's very frustrating. I think it's causing my eyesight to go bad.
Well,
what can I do?
First off, what the doctors are giving is a drug to actually block what's called they're using an alpha-1 blocker to block the trigo into the bladder, causing bladder spasm at the outlet. it doesn't affect the prostate. What the doctors are giving is useless. You need Prostate Flow 2 to 3 soft gels twice a day, Hormone Synergy 2 capsules in the morning, and Xenoestrin Detox, because the bladder picks up heavy metals, so that's why Kelar Max, and Xenoestrin Detox, and Nutra Defense, which has anhydrous catechin. The research done in Japan on the polyphenol over 20 years showed that not one person got prostate cancer. So the first thing is the Prostate Flow will shrink the prostate. The Xenoestrin Detox will pull out the xenotoxins that are causing the Ergenlagen, and that's a German term for the tissue that in females becomes a uterus, in males becomes a prostate from shrinking, and pulls out the biotoxins that are causing it to swell because of the xenoestrogens, which are toxins that lock onto the estrogen receptor and actually make the prostate grow bigger. So if you use Xenoestrin Detox, Nutra Defense, Prostate Flow, and Hormone Synergy, you're going to be far better off, and you do not need to take a motility agent. If you want something to help the bladder, use Swedish flower pollen, which is a natural alpha-1 blocker, 1 to 2 tablets every 4 hours during the day, and Bladder Up, which is a soft gel, 1 big soft gel morning and bedtime, and that'll help reverse the prostate swelling and normalize the motor activity of the Trigon. Swedish flower pollen.
Vincent from Brisbane, Australia. Dear Dr. Deagle and Michelle, thanks to Nutridyne, my family and I have experienced a new life. I know in my heart you are blessed with knowledge and other insight that I respect. I look often at your products and discuss them with others my age, and my health is athletic and getting a challenge of late. I am interested in more products, and the important question is it possible to receive all of your products, including Nutridyne, in the country of Australia without any customs or confiscation problems? Yes, we send to Australia a lot. We don't have any problems anywhere, actually. And Mitzi's very good as she sends it USPS postal only, and we've been managing.
We never had a problem there. In fact, we sent it to Russia, China, anywhere in the world. In fact, I remember even years ago, I made a joke about sending it to McMurdo Bay in Antarctica. But I'm sure that if they ordered it there, we could even ship it to McMurdo Bay in Antarctica.
But he said when he ordered previously the Nutridyne in Brisbane for some reason, he said they stopped it. And they charged him some customs fees.
It's extremely unlikely for that to happen,
Sometimes
especially small packages.
Do that. Once in a while, even in Canada, once in a moon, your package will be picked out, and they'll.
Yeah, but it's very rare.
It does happen.
It's like the chance of being hit by a meteor. It's not going to happen again.
Well.
It's not going to happen.
Little more than that, because customs likes to mess around.
Yeah, but of the thousands of packages, these are little packages. They're not big ones. They don't flag. They're not coming from a medical institution. They're coming from us, from NutriMedical.
Yeah, and I think Mitzi put something on there that makes it look friendly and not too businessy or something.
Right.
Let's see. Next we have. This is Charlotte. She's a visiting scholar at Stanford University. I am looking for a product I heard on your show on RBN 2 weeks ago, and this email bill is June the 5th. So this was a highly effective product for tooth and gum infection. Can you point it out to me on your online store? And she thought it was some long name. She doesn't know what it was. For tooth and gum.
Well, the first thing I'd use for tooth and gum is Allison Med. And I would use Silver 100 in the HydroFloss machine, which we're actually setting up to actually have a small mini store of a few products from Amazon that we don't carry at all, but I recommend, like the HydroFloss. So that'll be.
And if you don't have the HydroFloss, the silver spray is
Silver
great.
spray, brush your teeth with a silver spray. But the HydroFloss changes the charge in the teeth. You can use in that HydroFloss machine also Nutridyne, which is the most powerful antipathogenic. But to heal the gums, and for Nika, use Opera soft gel of CoQ10 ubiquinol, not just regular CoQ10, and puncture it twice a day, and that'll heal your gums. And the other is 2 tablets of Gastro Heal, zincarnosine, and it'll speed the healing of the gums.
Charles from Washington State, Bill. Michelle, I have never learned the key for keeping current on the username and password for wellness conditions. Please advise. Yes, Charles, and I did send him the password, Bill, for the wellness conditions, because, Charles, you're a regular orderer, and that's what it takes. Usually we set something like 6 or more times in a calendar year, makes you quote-unquote regular, and there's no amount limit. It can be as little as
but you're the gatekeeper.
A little thing, and as big as something else.
You're the gatekeeper, Michelle, the host with the most. And nobody can buy their way into getting the wellness conditions, including professionals. If you're not a regular orderer, you don't get access. You can see the videos, though, that I have posted up on Vimeo that are usually charges of $3 to $5 to see a video on a specific condition. And there's a summary of the wellness conditions there on video. But I'm gradually expanding to hundreds of health conditions, but that'll take a few months to do.
I think this one from Justo here, I don't know, it looks like it's an older email, Bill. He says he noticed a lump on his left big foot toe, and the lump is on the left big, and he says the lump is on the right side, of the big toe.
Right.
And just below the toenail at the knuckle, and he wants a dermatologist to look at it. And he says, I would like to talk to you about this, and what would you advise?
Well, the most likely thing is it's a submucosal cyst, which can be non-inflammatory or infective. You got to make sure it's not an early sign of tophaceous gout. So if they do an X-ray of it, a podiatrist would be the first person I'd see, and then secondary a dermatologist.
Yeah.
A podiatrist would have a look at that and determine if it's something that needs to be drained, or if he needs a culture done, or if it's tophaceous gout, which is uric acid accumulating in around the foot, because that can happen.
You mean that even with gout, it can come as a lump?
Yes, you can have
swelling.
Yes, you can have a lump that can come like there. And the most common thing, though, is a cyst. A cyst in the area.
Yeah, I think this was an old email. I think you've taken care of that one, Bill. Let's see, Brent, in an email, it looks like here. Dear Dr. Deagle, my cousin is getting ready to have surgery after a year of struggling with this condition, ZES.
Zollinger-Ellison syndrome.
Yeah, it says is it too late to ask for help? She will be going in this week. She says her insides are that of an 80-year-old woman, although she's only 45.
Right.
Is there any hope that she'll recover? She's deteriorating fast.
Yeah, Zollinger-Ellison syndrome is where they're having a breakdown of the stomach lining, and it's been thought in the past it was due to excess levels of hormone stimulating excess stomach acid.
Yes.
The most important thing is actually we become a gastroesophageal barrier, and that's where you take the gastro heal, chew 1 to 2 tablets 4 times a day. There's usually a stealth pathogen that's triggering off the Zollinger-Ellison. So I recommend berberstatin, Living Probiotic, and Living Probiotic Ultra, Allison Med, and drinking 15 drops to 20 drops of Nutridyne 3 times a day. Yeah, and the reason is because ZES is almost certainly caused by a stealth pathogen triggering off these changes in the gut lining and causing the damage.
So what happens? They produce a whole lot of acid?
Yeah, and the gastroesophageal barrier is not good. So as a result, they get Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. They can produce very high levels of stomach acid without the proper protection.
That would be painful, wouldn't it?
Very, and very painful and very dangerous too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, it's again another condition. Just like there's certain types of Linitis plastica type stomach tumors, and they're triggered off by aflatoxins from fungus. So most of the doctors, unfortunately, are not trained in infectious disease or what's called immunopathology, and so they don't recognize that there are testing ways of testing the gut. There was a doctor in Australia who was suspicious of pathogen triggered off stomach ulcers years ago, and he was a smart guy. He actually eventually cultured Helicobacter pylori from the esophagus and stomach, and realized that acid disease is actually triggered off by Helicobacter, including esophageal cancer. So esophageal cancer doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens with pathogens causing genetic damage to the esophagus and stomach.
Interesting. It's actually Chris Bell from Alabama. Greetings, Dr. Deagle, Michelle, and entire NutriMedical staff. My girlfriend has been diagnosed with a tumor on her pituitary gland. Do you know of a protocol, or can you recommend a natural product that works to destroy such a tumor and heal the gland? Her blood work won't be available for another 2 weeks, and there isn't much more info I can provide. When we come back, I guess, Bill will...
Chris, regarding his girlfriend with a pituitary tumor, the first thing is we need to know, did they do a CT or MRI scan and do enhancement to see if the tumor is cystic or solid? We need to know the hormone levels, if it's causing hormones that disrupt their physiology, such as a anterior or posterior pituitary tumor. If it's benign and it's not producing hormones, and it's not causing expansion, size of maybe benign tumor, you leave it alone. If it's causing hormone things, there's ways of healing the gland. Very often what's happening is there may be what's called rest cell benign tumor there, and it's very common to see that. You don't want them to do what's called neutron therapy, where they have a pulse set of neutrons to focus it in, like some of the major cancer clinics, because it'll cause brain damage. and they cause damage to the blood vessels as well as neuron cell dropout, and may cause what's called post-chemo or post-radiation brain syndrome. We have, if it is a tumor, we use malignant arrest, malignant block, ellagic acid, etc. in our cancer protocol. And then I strongly recommend a ketogenic diet and mild hypoparic oxygen. And you can also create lymphocyte-activated attack on the tumor, where we actually take blood out and you take the RNA and determine the tumor RNA and actually amplify your lymphocytes in a laboratory to attack it. So those are available at special clinics outside the United States. The first thing that's necessary, though, is in most cases, if it's a tumor and it's not producing hormones, it's most likely benign or cystic. And if it's not expanding and causing we call mechanical problems, you leave it alone.
Bill, what is the function of the pituitary gland?
It is basically sitting on the hypothalamus upside down, and it hangs down, produces hormones that regulate everything from it's called SIADH, to regulate your water balance and your salt balance in your body. It works to regulate your production of thyroid-stimulating hormones from thyroid-releasing hormone for your thyroid gland. It regulates many other hormones, including the ones that are cause bonding, which is the bonding hormones that goes on when mother bonds with their child. So there's a whole range of hormones. It's like the master gland. And your adrenals, for example, ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, regulating your adrenal glands comes from your pituitary. So it's like a master gland.
Franklin from South Carolina. I need to review the wellness conditions and place an order for my wife's heartburn and GERD. I have a blessed day.
Yeah, the best thing to do is just contact me by email and I'll customize it, which is better than just going to the wellness conditions. And for heartburn, I'd recommend GastroHeal, 1 to 2 tablets 4 times a day. Take Allicin Med, a capsule 3 times a day because there's often a pathogen going on. And take IBS Care, which is a slow-release, gut-release form of carnitine, normalize peristalsis. Those are the free starting ones. If it hasn't improved in 2 to 4 weeks, then I'd recommend that you send me a full medical records and buy a consult time, and we can actually review everything, with a proper consult where I can review things like endoscopies or upper GI series or lab work if you had tests done for specific pathogens, and then we can find out what's going on in terms of what's causing it. So a lot of times there's actually a stealth pathogen triggering off the GERD, and it's causing motility problems where it crawls up into your chest and pulls up the fluid, and the lower esophageal sphincter isn't working.
Patricia from Dominica. Hello, I'm trying to register in order to place an order, but the country I live in is not on your list. Could you please add Dominica?
Dominican Republic is beside Haiti.
No, guess what, Bill? You just let me finish talking.
Okay.
It's bad.
Is that Dominican?
Interrupting.
Okay, sorry.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
You just showed your own little ignorance there because it says, I know you hate that.
No,
just let me finish.
Yeah.
Not Dominican Republic. I had to look it up myself. I thought, what is she talking about? I thought there's only Dominican Republic, and I found out there's another island in the Caribbean. It's called Dominica, and it's got nothing to do with the Dominican Republic. Yeah.
Now I'm smarter. I learned about Dominica.
When you start talking before
I thought maybe I was just misnaming it. Yeah.
So we're adding that for her, and then her question, Bill, was about rosacea.
Rosacea is caused by a spirochete. That's why Metrogel is used by doctors, which is an anti-spirochete. And it gets into the hair follicles and the sebaceous glands and causes an inflammatory change. It's amplified by cigarettes, hot food, and alcohol and sunlight. What we do basically is we use the antipathogenics on the skin. You can spray dilution of Neutrodyne on and in between Silver 100. And to stop the inflammation, we use pregnenolone and curcumin cream 4 times a day on the skin. And orally take antipathogenics Neutrodyne, Allicin Med, and Silver 100. But the primary process is inflammatory, so you want to use Cell Defense Plus internally, 2 capsules 3 times a day, and topically, pregnenolone and curcumin, because it's basically triggered off by a stealth pathogen, a spirochete. And believe it or not, related to it is like Trichomonas vaginalis, but spirochetes like babesiosis or ehrlichiosis are the primary cause. And they particularly strike people of Northern European descent, but can hit Hispanics as well. And very nasty infection. But the regular doctors, they use Metrogel, but that's not very effective compared to our stuff.
We'll be right back.
Segments now.
Michael from Texas. I need your counsel on how to handle a medical problem. I'm a 59-year-old male, 5'10", 240 pounds. I've had a rash on my legs just above the knees, the back of the knees, collarbones, eyelids, forehead, inner brows, private parts too. And I've had this for over 2 months. I don't have medical coverage, so I went to CareNow chain of clinics on a reduced payment plan, and they said it was a fungus. Prescribed an antifungal and some pills, and that didn't work. And then they referred him to a dermatologist, and he put him on
fluconazole, which fluconazole is not a very good antifungal, and it tends to also interfere with the production of male hormones, so it chemically castrates you.
Yeah, he said he took it for 10 days anyways, right? But it didn't do anything.
Yeah.
What's he saying?
Yeah, and the other antifungals, by the way, you have to test liver enzymes, because even fluconazole longer than 10 days, you're at risk of damaging your liver, and you can have liver enzymes go through the ceiling.
He said, with my wife's last order of CalmMine, I received a bottle of Silver 100. I've been taking 7 sprays in the mouth for the last 2 weeks. I would appreciate your counsel on this condition, and I take no other prescription medicine.
The first thing I do, firstly orally, I would give him Allicin Med, a capsule 3 times a day, and Nutridyne 20 drops in water 3 times a day. Mm-hmm. Topically, I'd spray Nutridyne in dilution on the areas and alternate with the Silver 100. And I'd put pregnenolone and curcumin cream 4 times a day in all the involved areas. Be very careful not to put the curcumin into the eye, because it'll irritate, but you can put it on your eyelids. You can put a little drop on the eyelids, and it'll actually penetrate nicely. It's basically a fungal infection, and when you boost the ability to kill the fungus off with the Allicin Med and Nutridyne, it'll resolve. And also the oils to help re-establish the skin, I'd recommend Omega Supreme Krill with the astaxanthin.
Next, Bill, is your favorites, Anonymous.
He used to work with Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Anonymous.
Remember that in the old joke about Anonymous was always involved with things?
Dear Michelle, it's to me, Bill. Thank you so much, he says, for sharing your personal menopause experience, or lack thereof. That's right, it was kind of non-eventful. I wanted to see when you're going to have your 7 for Heaven sale. I didn't make the last one. Well, my dear, that is going to be, of course, Independence Weekend.
Which is just a couple weeks away.
Which is not that far away.
3 weeks.
I can't believe it.
3 weeks.
Anyway, she goes on to say she's 56 and she's in year 7 now.
Right.
And she's never had a full night's sleep since. Oh, that's sad. Anyway, She goes on to say also to pass on to Dr. Bill, FYI, that here, well, I guess I can say where you're from because no one will ever know, Tacoma, Washington, we have the Cascadia Rising FEMA drill starting this morning, and her email is June the 7th. In the relatively newly built Walmart parking lot sits about 15 installed brand new RVs. I prayed on this last night, and I believe these could be chipping centers while this drill takes place. Again, not certain, but it's very odd. And it's funny, Bill, I got another email from a regular customer, and she didn't say she's anonymous, Kathy's her name, but she goes on to say there's a massive rehearsal planned for Northwest Megaquake and Tsunami in Portland, and I looked that up, and they called that the same thing, the Cascadia Rising, a June 7th to 10th exercise. We're going to Portland on Friday, but thank God we miss it. We
talked about that today with Ann.
Did you?
Fort had basically Mount St. what's called the volcanic mountain that you see from Portland is very active. They were actually drilling into it to try to use it for geothermal power, and they realized there was a lot of water there too, so they stopped and realized it could trigger off a major volcanic explosion. Just so you can see it from the city. They actually calculated out from the current warnings, there's for every year there's a 1 in 300 chance of a major superquake across the Cascadia subduction zone, and if it is, it'll be about a 9.1 to 9.3 earthquake, which could be pretty devastating. They've calculated out the estimates, which they downgrade from talking to the experts, but the people at this war game talk about it being pretty destructive to Portland.
Well, that's it. So that's why there's so many.
And the main thing is
that
the most danger is not just the knocking down of buildings, which could happen if it was really big, but it's the ash, and that's why you want to wear NIOSH N95 masks, because the ash will cut your airways to pieces, and you can bleed to death internally from breathing ash. So the ash will get you if you don't wear a mask.
Next, Bill, is a doctor from Nevada. And he says, I'm thrilled that you have an effective kidney protocol.
Right.
Sufficient to help get me off dialysis. He said, no doubt you're the answer to my prayers. And he goes on to, I guess he's 75 years old. He isn't practicing anymore. And he's excited about what NutriMeds and specific therapies.
Okay, level 1 is real simple. Ultrathiamine B1, 2 capsules to 3 capsules 3 times a day, and Vein Away, 1 capsule 3 times a day. This is a start. And ellagic acid, 1 to 2 capsules 3 times a day. That's the start. The next phase beyond that is to look at other factors, like is he diabetic, does he have other issues going on, to fix those.
Well, he does say here, can you help me restart my bladder so I can urinate normally again? The 8-year catheter ordeal has not been fun.
Right. So what happens is once we get his kidneys producing water, all he has to have is a return of 20% of kidney function. He'll be off dialysis. Mm-hmm. We also have peptides that I can bring in from Europe, from the anti-aging doctors, and anti-aging technology, which we can discuss in further phases. And we can also prepare them for a stem cell transplant, which I have specific clinics I know can do it, but they want to either amplify your own stem cells in a lab before they give them back to you, or use stem cell lines like the Stemedica clinic in San Diego that has their facility in Santa Clarita in Tijuana where you can get it, or their clinic if you're in Europe in Astana, Kazakhstan. But you need to amplify the stem cells. Just taking the umbilical cord stem cells or from your own bone marrow the same day doesn't work. And if you don't prepare the body and make sure that all the minerals and vitamins and everything, and the immune system and everything is functioning perfectly, the stem cells won't take. So the first step is real simple. Those 3 things, ultrathiamine B1, Vein Away, and the use of things to improve the regeneration of the kidney function.
Well, he says, please mention the name of your frequency device that elevates the electrical potential across cellular membranes.
The Micropulse. Okay. And if you use our code, you save, I think, $35, $40. So it's under $300 for the Micropulse. The other is Lumen Photon. And for the kidneys, you want to put it on frequency number 5 or 4 or 5. Over the kidneys, and you can actually, the studies they've done, it shows it lowers the levels of what's called plasminogen activator inhibitor number 1 and C-reactive protein, and dropped it 80 to 90% at a university facility. So you can stimulate kidney function with transabdominal use of Lumen Photon and Micropulse, and we can prepare you also with mild hyperbaric oxygen and a ketogenic diet and get your cells ready with these peptides that modulate your DNA. So those are later phases. The first phase in many cases is all you need is the ultrathiamine B1, and I had a diabetic here just a few months ago. Mm-hmm. Over 6 months he was able to get his kidney function back because he had taken Arthrotek and it damaged his kidneys, which contains Cytotec and an anti-inflammatory, and if you're diabetic it's very dangerous to take non-steroidals, and he locked out 50% of his kidney function 6-7 years before. And in 6 months, just an ultrathiamine B1, his kidney function returned. So they didn't even get Vein Away or ellagic acid.
Sam Bill from New Jersey. Hey, Dr. Bill and Michelle. It's Sam here in New Jersey. Thanks for all your efforts and all you do to spread the light of liberty. Love your show very much. I have a request. Could you please get the fearless constitutional lawyer Danny Sheehan as a guest on your radio show? He exposes, over the last 40 years, hidden cover-ups and covert operations in U.S. history.
That'd be a good idea. Yeah. Sure. Anybody like that?
To Bill.
Any suggestions?
I'll give that to you, Bill.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with him. Also, I want to bring back on Stephen Barrett from the 9/11 Scholars, which I talked to him a number of years ago. He's on the show. It's all good to have these different perspectives because when each pulls their piece of the puzzle, and we have legal experts like this on, it's great because it shows it's not just my opinion, it's an interlocking set of truths that kind of show you what's really going on, and it's pretty danged evil.
Glenn from Sydney, Australia. Dear Dr. Bill and Michelle, I came across your prophecy. I guess we have on our website here, and I think he's trying to get you to read some prophecy stuff. But without reading all this and going into it, is there anything that's new prophetically that you've heard that you'd like to share with everyone? Is there anything?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, because...
First thing, the sealing of the 144,000 started last September on the tetrad blood moons and the supermoon. That it started sealing the people that are people of God that know the truth and are getting ready because we're in the birth pangs right now. That started last September. I don't know how many months or years it's going to be, but when a peace treaty that set up a Palestinian state and have the Jews start a blood sacrifice. It has to occur by rabbinic law in Sukkot. That's very soon. Right now, prophetically, if we have Donald Trump come in, and he's not perfect by any means, we need to restrain his tongue, but he does have a good intention to try to bring America back and have America repent. Hillary Clinton, if she's not indicted after the Philadelphia conference, prophetically, she will probably become president because of demographics in this country and the corrupt people that will vote for her. It's very probable if she's not indicted within a month, by August of this year, she will become the U.S. president, and we will have the spirit of Jezebel here. There will be domestic security dangers in America running up to the last few months of Obama's administration, and if she gets into the Jezebel spirit, she'll have a domestic security bill with both, and they'll strip a lot of our rights away. So it's going to get nasty. So that's what I see coming, and we got to pray that the President Trump takes office and we as a nation repent from what we've done of 9/11, which is an inside job, and what we self-inflicted wound, from our war in Libya and Afghanistan, for all the evil things that we've done and let our leaders do, and from abortion, which is the primary thing that drives God crazy, is killing our unborn.
Yes.
And how we have promoted this all over the world, and also now sexual perversion with the United Nations with 34 different designations of sexual orientation. It's disgusting, it's evil, and if we don't repent, we will be judged, and judgment's coming quickly.
Next bill is Jay, sent from his iPhone. Hey, Dr. Bill, I listen every day, 1 to 4 Eastern Time. So needless to say, I only listen to you-know-who from 12 to 1.
Oh, yeah.
No need for me to ever say that name again in my life.
Yeah, I know. You're so cute, Mishy. I love you.
His questions are about 9/11, and I think you kind of covered some.
We did that the first hour this morning, and we are going to bring on other 9/11 experts like Mark Gaffney and Mr. Barrett, Kevin Barrett.
With that new news about the number, the serial numbers.
Well, actually, the visa numbers are only numbers given to these so-called Saudi and other pilots. They're actually numbers for, say, operatives, and they were actually housed even in FBI places here in the United States. So 9/11 was an inside job, and George Bush and his crime family were involved. In fact, Roger Stone actually launched his book just at the time when Jeb Bush was running for president, and as soon as he did, Jeb immediately pulled out from his candidacy. So the Bush family are incredibly evil. They're the Bush crime family, and they're integrated directly with the Clintons. In fact, George Bush Sr. said that Bill Clinton was his adopted son. So you have an idea how criminally integrated they are with the Clintons and the Bushes.
Oliver from Georgia, thanks for addressing my question. And that was about diabetes, Bill.
Right.
But he just wants to know if you slowly could give me today, right, for diabetes, 4 products, and covering, of course, the inflammation. He didn't catch what it was for inflammation. Was it Inflamex? Yes.
Okay. For diabetes, the first one would be Diabetoline.
Yes.
Second would be Glycemics to replace 2 meals and 2 snacks.
Yes.
Third would be Berberstatin. And the fourth would be Microdose, which is our HGH to raise IGF-1, which counteracts the insulin. For inflammation, which is a separate thing, you want to use Cell Defense Plus and Inflam-X, which is Wobenzyme N formula 10 times more powerful, plus serrapeptase silkworm enzyme. And those are the 2 best. Cell Defense Plus, 2 capsules 3 times a day, and Inflam-X, 4 to 5 capsules 2 to 3 times a day. And bye-bye inflammation.
From Curtis, Bill, I think we're getting a little pressed for time, so I'm going to just
yes, 3 minutes before the segment's over. Yeah, go ahead. 3
minutes?
Yeah.
Can you quickly give a protocol for rapid heartbeat? Why would you have a rapid heartbeat?
Rapid heartbeat because you're having increased excitation by calcium unopposed by magnesium. So first thing is Brain Mag, a scoop 3 times a day, and magnesium glycinate, 3 to 4 capsules 3 times a day, and Cardiovasc, and then to reduce the irritability of the heart, Elagic acid, 2 capsules 3 times a day, and Omega Supreme Krill Astaxanthin, and Gamma E Plus, 2 soft gels 3 times a day to stop the peroxynitrate radical.
The other one that he needs a protocol for is hypoglycemia. I get a lot of
It's adrenal
people asking
dysfunction.
about that.
Hypoglycemia is your adrenal glands. And it's being shut off because the autonomic nervous system's out of balance, and you get what's called a change in sympathetic parasympathetic balance. It's not the adrenal glands, it's the autonomic nervous system. So you want to use Brain Mag and Calm Mind to combat.
I don't know if I understood all that.
So what happens is your autoimmune system actually is shutting off your adrenal glands. So if you actually measure saliva levels of cortisol or blood levels, it drops like a rock to not even be measured. And the main hormone that counteracts insulin in your body during the day is cortisol. And so if your cortisol level drops to undetectable, your blood sugar will drop, and your body then dumps out adrenal gland hormones, noradrenaline and adrenaline, in order to counteract it. So you get a fight or flight reaction. So you get a big sympathetic surge to counteract the drop in your levels of cortisol. So to counteract that, you need adrenal support gland. You need bio-LVR, capsule twice a day. Adrenal support gland, at least one capsule twice a day to two twice a day. And you want to take DHEA and pregnenolone to support your adrenals. And then for the brain, you want to be taking Indiamese, Minerals Plus, and you want to take Brain Mag and Calm Mind, because what it is the central nervous system is out of balance, and the autonomic nervous system actually triggers off the adrenal surge of noradrenaline and adrenaline. So when people have hypoglycemia, it's their autonomic nervous system that's causing the problem. Okay?
This is he said something for
eczematous dermatitis, which is eczema. They always have food allergies or contact allergies, most common food. So I recommend there, of course.
You know what's interesting? Mitzi got that.
Yeah.
She got that a couple of weeks ago between her fingers.
Right.
And it was because of cleaners. She had the cleaners.
Topical,
yeah. Went right inside her gloves and caused between her fingers.
Right. So what you do is you take, firstly, topical.
So that's just temporary.
Topical pregnenolone and curcumin cream to the area 4 times a day. And then you want to take Allergon and Allerblock capsules 3 times a day for eczema, and for the gut, Gastrozyme to digest your food better because it reduces allergies, and GastroHeal and what's called immune capsules for immunoglobulins to coat the gut wall.
Why did they diagnose Mitzi with that when she only had it as a temporary rash?
It's what's a local eczema. It's basically the proteins on your skin, right? Keratin proteins and so on, attached to the toxins of the cleaner, and then they make a local inflammatory cytokine reaction to cause a rash.
And how is that like regular eczema?
But eczema that's all over your body is almost always food reactions.
It does the same thing.
Or it could be a reaction to, say, a fabric softener, and more very commonly fabric softener or high phosphate detergents. Do you have any humorous jokes now, or scriptures, or anything else, Michelle?
No, I have 2 more questions.
Okay, we're trying to plow through these.
Maybe next week, okay? Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people that are sick out there want to get well without the use of toxic polypharmacy.
What do we have, 3 minutes?
4 minutes, maybe 4.
4 minutes?
Yep.
4 minutes. Bill, real quick for memory. For memory.
Cognition Plus, right? Brain power.
Uh-huh.
And I would recommend taking the things for support, which is ultrasound B1.
No, keeping it simple, though, the main things.
Cognition Plus and Brain Power.
Okay.
Okay, but if you want to add to that, I would add the ultrasound B1, cytidine, choline, and uridine, or uridine monophosphate. Now, it's determined if you're a fast or slow accelerator. If I've got your genetic analysis from 23andMe, I can determine if you're a fast accelerator. You can take the uridine monophosphate 300. If you're a slow accelerator, you'll need to take the uridine.
What's the difference between the Brain Power and the Cognition Plus?
Brain Power is straight vinpocetine, 5 milligrams, and the Cognition has some in it, but it has other nutrients, including huperzine A, which is the supplements they had in this.
Just simply what they do. What does
Brain Power actually protects your brain from oxidative stress and damage, and there's some in the Cognition Plus, but a lot more in the Brain Power. And the Cognition Plus will increase neurotransmitter levels, oxidative stress in the brain, and the energetics of the brain cells.
Speaking of stress, Lindsay from Pennsylvania, school teacher Bill, she would like to know if you have one product that you'd recommend for stress.
I would use the Mood Elevator.
She can take during the day.
One elevator, it's called Mood Elevator or Posinol.
That's funny.
And then the other one, of course, is I'm going to recommend, well, you can choose one. The other would be Calm Mind.
I would just say the Calm Mind because it doesn't make you drowsy and you have it all day long.
Yeah, you can drowsy with that, but you're right. Calm Mind is number one.
That's
and number
one
two
product.
would be number two, because I'd like to slide one in, would be the Mood Elevator.
But she said one.
That one, that's the first
that's
one.
2 and 3.
Yeah. No, I didn't add 3 yet.
You weren't that good in math. Is that true?
I was very good in math.
Oh, of course, I knew you'd say that.
Zippy in math. So are you, by the way. We're both math, physics wizards.
Oh, if you guys believe that, boy.
I know you did really well in physics and math.
Bill, that doesn't mean we're wizards. Just because you do well in the subject doesn't mean you're a genius. It just means you do well in the subject, okay? Alan,
okay, please continue.
Okay, Bill. Alan from North Carolina. Real quickly. Actually, the question's more for me about the 3 drinks every day.
Right.
Do I take 1 or 2 scoops of each? I take 1 scoop of each. 1 of the Life Support, 1 of the Ageless, and one of the glycemics, right, Bill?
Right.
I know you look at it in my glass and you're thinking, they're wonderful products. If you're looking for something out there and you don't want to take a bunch of pills, although I do take a bunch of pills now too. Oh my gosh, I'm taking my pills much better, aren't I, Bill? I'm swallowing them just like so easy.
It's practice.
And you know what it was? I stopped getting anxious about it. Like I want to choke and they're big and everything, and I just tried to chill. Because Chris told me, he said, Mom, just chill. He said, because Chris is taking those big CoQ10 things and everything.
Oh, he's taking CoQ10
relaxed.
now? Yeah, he's
and now I can take one and two together.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's
but
good.
Anyways, back to the drinks for Alan. Yeah, 1 scoop of each of those is great. The Ageless is protecting, I think, with the malignant block in it, protecting from cancer. The Life Support's got all your trace minerals. It's got everything at the Life Support, right, Bill?
Yeah, you got about 30 seconds.
Glycemics keeps me at this age in perfect shape.
You are a wonderful lady.
My dears out there.
Wonderful, beautiful, funny.
Oh, there's my Adele. So one day I'm going to just start screaming out, singing, and then everybody's going to turn off the radio.
By the way, if you need help both on the physical, spiritual, or even ideas to how to get your business going, pray and call us. By the way, we need your prayers here, not only for America, but for the world. Send them to us by email, and we'll...
God bless you. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week.
God bless and take care.